Pavlyuchenkova coming off a long losing streak, and Eala trying to get some wins on clay. I'm going to go with Eala in 3 sets. I reckon she'll get it done in the end. She has had a couple of tough roads and a couple of tough opponents in the last few matches, so I'm going to go with her in 3. And she has the the favorite, I guess, or the higher ranked player in this matchup on this surface. Like I said, she has made a final of a French Open before, and before this week, hadn't won a match for a while. So using that confidence, winning a couple matches in a row, hopefully will give her some hope.
Karolina Pliskova, former world number 1, 2-time Grand Slam finalist, one of the most feared servers in the history of women's tennis,
stepped back onto the
scrolls through the bracket,
and systematically
and then suddenly freezes. Her eyes lock onto one name, Alexeala, first round, Madrid, on clay. Now think about that for a second. This isn't just a bad draw. This feels like walking straight into a storm. This isn't just any opponent on any surface in any city. This is a player who grew up in Spain, who trained on this exact red clay for years, who was personally guided by the king of clay himself, Rafael Nadal. The man with 14 French Open titles, the man with 63 clay titles, the man whose entire identity in tennis was built on clay court dominance. That is who shaped Alexeala. And Pliskova just got drawn against her in Nadal's backyard. If Pliskova isn't feeling the pressure right now, she absolutely should be. And today, we're breaking down every single reason why this first-round clash could be the most dangerous match of Karolina's entire comeback. Now, before we go any further, let's be clear. Karolina is a legend, a former world number 1, a Wimbledon finalist, a US Open finalist, one of the most complete players of her generation with a serve that has terrified every opponent she's faced. Nobody is taking away what she has built over her career. But right now, in 2026, the reality is this. Pliskova is in Madrid on a special ranking. She is no longer the dominant force she once was. She's fighting to prove she still belongs at this level, and she needs every bit of luck the draw can offer. Instead, the draw handed her the absolute worst-case scenario. A hungry 20-year-old in the form of her life, on clay, in Spain, trained by the Nadal family. If there is one player in this draw she did not want to see in round 1, it was Alexeala. And yet, here we are. The 2026 Mutua Madrid Open runs from April 21st to May 3rd, the biggest WTA 1000 clay event before Roland Garros. The field is stacked. Sabalenka, Rybakina, Świątek, Gauff, Pegula. But while the spotlight is on the top seeds, this first-round clash between Pliskova and Eala is quietly building serious buzz. And for good reason, because this isn't just a match. It's a story. A story about legacy, about mentorship, about a young player who was forged in this country by the greatest clay dynasty in tennis history, now returning to prove exactly what she's made of. Alexeala, world number 45 from the Philippines, is back in Madrid, and she is not here to go down quietly. Here's the part that should genuinely worry any opponent drawing Eala on clay. At just 13 years old, she left the Philippines and moved to Mallorca, Spain to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy. She didn't just visit. She didn't attend a short camp. She lived there, trained there every single day. She grew up absorbing every principle of clay court dominance that Nadal's philosophy is built on. At the academy, there's one rule. There's no difference between practice and a real match. That intensity, that discipline, that relentless clay mindset, it was drilled into Eala before she even turned 15. But it gets even more remarkable. In the build-up to this clay season, Rafael Nadal himself trained with Alexeala. The king of clay stepped on court with her. And not just Rafa. It was so special for me. Obviously, training with Rafa is something people and young kids can only dream about. It was such a pleasure to share the court with him, He gave me some tips on my forehand and a few small pieces of advice. It's the first time I've ever hit with him, and it's a memory that will last forever. And then there's Tony Nadal, the legendary coach who guided Rafael Nadal to most of his 14 French Open titles, is now formally part of Eala's coaching team. Tony was in her box during her incredible run at the 2025 Miami Open. He was on court with her in Mallorca during the clay training camp just weeks before this tournament. Eala herself said, "It's so great, and we're so blessed to have Tony as part of the team. If you had told me that years ago, my mind would have been blown." The Nadal family's clay court knowledge, built over 2 decades of dominance, is now flowing directly into Alexeala's game ahead of Madrid. Let that sink in. These aren't just stats. This is the legacy of a man who turned clay into his personal empire for nearly 2 decades. 5 Madrid titles, 10 Rome titles, 11 Monte Carlo titles, a perfect 14-0 record in French Open finals. He has never lost a Roland Garros final. And that mind, that philosophy, that clay DNA has now been poured into Eala's preparation. So when Karolina Pliskova steps onto that Madrid clay, she's not just facing a 20-year-old from the Philippines. She's facing years of Nadal's clay court education standing across the net. And beyond the Nadal connection, there's another key factor. Spain is Eala's second home. She understands the feel of Spanish red clay. She knows how the ball reacts at Madrid's altitude. She understands the rhythm, the patience, the grind that clay demands, because she's been living it for years. She even trained alongside world number 2 Iga Świątek at the Rafa Nadal Academy just weeks before this clay swing. The player widely considered the best clay court player in the women's game right now. The Spanish crowd knows her story. They watched her grow up at the academy. There's a very real chance they'll treat her as one of their own. And on clay, with the crowd behind you, that can be worth several games before the first point is even played. Pliskova is stepping into Eala's world. Tactically, there's only one path for Karolina. She has to be aggressive from the very first ball. Serve big, take time away, finish points quickly. Because the moment rallies start to extend on clay, this match tilts heavily toward Eala. Her heavy topspin forehand, her footwork sharpened over years in Mallorca, her ability to construct points patiently from deep in the court, all of it becomes more dangerous with every extra shot. Tony Nadal specifically worked on her movement and feel for the ball during the pre-clay camp. Eala confirmed it herself. "We worked a lot on feeling the ball and moving well. I think I'm moving better than I did last year." Better movement, Nadal's tactical influence, home conditions, motivation. Every factor points in one direction. This match is bigger than just a first-round result. Eala has Madrid and Rome as her runway before Roland Garros. She's already beaten a world number 2 at the 2025 Miami Open. She's shown she can compete with the very best on any surface. Now she needs to stamp her authority on clay. And a dominant win over a former world number 1, powered by Nadal's coaching on Spanish soil, would be one of the loudest statements she could make heading into Paris. The student of the King of Clay, winning in the King's Kingdom. The story almost writes itself. Our prediction? Eala wins this comfortably. Straight sets. She's on her surface, in her city, armed with the clay court knowledge of the greatest player this sport has ever seen on dirt. Pliskova walked into a trap the moment this draw was made. And deep down, She knew it the second she saw Eala's name. That's the instant regret. That's the pressure. And that's why this first-round match might be one of the most compelling stories of the entire Madrid Open. If you believe Eala is about to make a massive statement in Madrid, smash that like button, subscribe right now, and ring the bell for every update. And drop your score prediction in the comments. How dominant will Eala now that you know the full story? A player trained on Spanish clay since she was 13, shaped by the Nadal family, playing in her second home. Do you think Pliskova even has a chance? Or is this over before it even begins? Can Pliskova's legendary serve carry her through on clay against a Nadal-trained 20-year-old hungry for a breakthrough? Is Eala ready to go all the way in Madrid? Or will the moment get to her? Drop your predictions right now. Straight sets for Eala or a shocking upset? Who wins and what's the score? Let the debate begin.